Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss another interesting video about GitHub Copilot, how to create your SaaS application from scratch in less than 10 minutes using basic prompts without any experience in coding directly from GitHub Copilot, how to run the application locally, create a database. We will be assisted even to create our infrastructure all the way to the hosting site on Azure. My name is Bilal Marwan. I'm Cloud Technical Architect, Microsoft certified trainer since 2017 and here to help you start through the cloud. Let's start. So in today's video, we are going to build a SaaS application that will help us to organize parties at home, like create a new party, add users, guests to the party, mention the date, the hour, and the address for the party, add new guests as well. We need guests for our party. Then we will be providing the organizer the ability to check current parties and edit them, check the capacity, and so on. So this application will be developed using Node.js and MS SQL database. We are going to check with the help of Copilot how we can host the application on Azure, how to create the SQL database. So all the steps will be detailed in a step-by-step guide in this video. So we are going to check all the ability and the capacity of the tool, how it will assist us from zero to hero to build our first SaaS application. So let's switch to Visual Studio Code and start our coding experience. So here we click on the Copilot icon. Let's bring the prompt. This is a really basic prompt that I've prepared. Create a Node.js application using Microsoft SQL database with the following specification. Let's add a column here. SQL. Let's make it beautiful. SQL in uppercase. Create a new party with date, hour, address, theme, and capacity. Add guests. Allow every guest to mention what he will be bringing. Consult and edit existing parties. Show available seats for each party. So this is a really basic prompt. The idea is not to go through very complex prompts and optimizing the AI party here. The main focus on today's video is to check the capacity of the tool to create a SaaS application from scratch without coding experience, without knowledge. We will be asking Copilot to assist us from the beginning to create the code, to create the SQL database, up to the hosting part. So let's click enter. I will be accelerating the videos from time to time just to gain time. We will not be waiting here for compiling part. So the idea is to get things quicker, to get what the tool will be able to provide us. So here, let's create the workspace, select as parent folder. So Node.js SQL application. All right. So as you can see here down, creating files. So this is working on the behind the scenes. Let's wait a little bit for this to finish. So this is really quick. This is really impressive. It took like less than a minute to get the application code ready. So here's the config, the source, controllers, and so on. So we are not going over the Node.js code organization. This is not the topic of the day, and I'm not developer at all. Don't tell anyone. Next, we will need a Microsoft SQL database to run the application. So this is what we have asked on the prompt. So I will be asking Copilot as well to provide me with a PowerShell script using Azure CLI to create our SQL database, as we assume that we don't have any programming or infrastructure application knowledge. So let's ask Copilot and check if it's able to assist us with this task as well. So let's switch over to Visual Studio Code. So please provide me PowerShell script using Azure CLI to create a SQL, Microsoft SQL, MS SQL database, and enter. All right, this is the script. All right, this script will create a resource group, create SQL server, configure a firewall rule to allow access, create a SQL database on the server. Let's copy this. Actually, we will keep the script as it is. So demo, and here Copilot SaaS. Well, let's call it SaaS demo. Create SQL Server, and so on, so on, so on. Yeah. First of all, I need to log into my environment. So as it login, as it account set subscription. I have several multiple subscriptions. So let's set the subscription that we are going to work with it today, and let's run the script. So as you can see, GitHub Copilot is not only for coding, this is as well helping us in our infrastructure side to create the SQL database. We can even ask it to how to log into Azure, how to set up my environment, all questions that you have in mind, feel free to ask it. So let's go back to our script. So the script is finished, and here is let's check from the portal how things are made. So we have the SQL database. We have the SQL database, made database as we requested. Let's check if there is any networking setup here. So later we need to add our IP address, our public IP address, to be able to join the database from when we are going to test the application from on premises. But this is just for the testing purposes. In production, we are not going to do this setup. We need to set up the private network access and so on. So there are other consideration when it comes to production, but for testing purposes, for this demo, this is really fine. So let's switch back to our Visual Studio Code, how to integrate SQL details to my code. So this is again a basic question. All right, we need to install the package. Let's install it. All right. Create a config file for the database connection, a database.js in the config directory. All right. So a database.js is here. Let's click on it. Accept changes. So we need to set up local environments to get the DB user, the DB password, server, and so on. Use the database connection in your application. Update the party model.js, which is in source models, party model.js. Let's get the changes. Okay, accept changes. So we did accept all proposed code. And then let's continue to ask Copilot to our stupid questions, how to run the application locally. All right. We need to do npm install. Okay. We did set the environment details. So the next step, we need to run our application. So it tells us to run node source app.js. Let's run this and then go to localhost port 3000. Refresh the browser. Well, still not working. Okay. Things get a little bit more serious here. The secret key. So let's ask Copilot, what's the secret key here? So let's ask Copilot about the secret key. So what's the secret key is used for in the .env file? So GitHub, as you know, GitHub is not only for coding. We may ask it to clarify things for the usage of everything. So here we did ask about the secret key. It's typically used for cryptography operations that such as signing tokens, hashing, GW tokens, and so on. Okay, GWT token signing. All right. The application is still not loading. So let's continue our troubleshooting here. Okay, these are okay. Install .NET Env. Make sure that they do have the .NET AMP package installed and required at the top of your app.js file. The app.js file here, require .NET AMP. Okay. So let's make sure that the app.js file is up to date. So didn't propose any changes. Well, it's still loading here. As you see here in the lower bottom, right bottom of the screen. Okay. File path, accept changes. Well, it just did add a command here. Check for the missing dependencies. Let's take npm install express body parser mysql.env. Okay. Okay. So let's start the application again. Go back to our browser, refresh. So the application is still not working. I was thinking about maybe because we didn't create any table in our database that's causing the issue. So I did ask Copilot, do we need to create the database tables? He said yes. So we need to create the SQL script to create database, create a file named create tables.sql with the following content. Okay, run the SQL script to create the tables. So let me copy this, get to our SQL server, create a new query, and then execute it. So here, if we refresh tables, we do see gets and parties tables. Then run the SQL script. Okay, using MySQL. This was done. Verify the tables that's done. Update your model to interact with the tables. Let's get to our party model and then update it. Okay, accept changes, accept changes. So let's start the application. Well, I think it's getting a little bit better. Back to our application. Welcome to the party management API. Oh, good. But nothing to show. So this is just a display message. So the application is loading. This is the good news. Then we don't have any way to, so I think we need to have some views to add new features. So it's like doing the application in API model. Now we will ask to add some views to display things. Okay, good. So the application is loading, but there is no views at my application. Is loading, but there is no views. Could you add views to all my features? Well, I think there is a lot of things to update. Let me fast up the video a little bit, then we will be back when I add all the changes. So we did update all the code. Then we run our application again. Well, this is the right command. Okay, this is really working properly. So the date, let's say we are going to create a party on the 23rd. Record set, output, record affected. I think it's working now. Let's execute, and here is it. So we did create our first party. I'm okay with you that the interface is not that fancy, but we can ask Copilot, could you enhance the style of the application? Well, again, the really basic prompts. I didn't provide anything about CSS things and so on. Let's go to our, oh, great. Look how beautiful it is. And I think this is dynamic to the size of the screen and so on. Well, we can make it in mobile mode. I think that some jobs might be disappearing in a couple of years if we check everything that we did just by typing single sentence, that we did all the styles and CSS on the application. This is really, really strong feature. If people didn't evolve through time, I think they will struggle in the next couple of years. So let's get back to our application. So create another one on 22nd, 2024. Let's make it a little bit earlier. So this is for to celebrate GitHub Copilot and the capacity, which is 20. So here we have the party details, the correct date, hour, address, celebrate GitHub Copilot with the available seat and capacity. And we even have the feature to add guests to our application. So you get the idea how this is how we create the application. But as we said in the beginning of the video, we need to host the application on Azure. So we did be assisted by Copilot to create our database. Now we will be back to our Visual Studio Code. Let's ask how to push our application into Azure web app. Okay, so let's ask this question. So we're not going to do it today, but just to have an idea about how GitHub Copilot will be able to assist us during our journey. So we propose to log in, to create the resource group, to create the resource itself, and so on. Then we need to commit our code. We need to do another web app deployment. We can ask GitHub Copilot to explain the steps. Hope you did enjoy the video for today. We saw together how to create an application from scratch, starting with basic prompt without any experience in coding. I'm not a developer, I'm cloud architect. I have some basic knowledge. I'm not expert in Node.js and all this stuff. I try to use basic prompts in order to provide you an idea about the feature GitHub Copilot. Then we follow the steps provided by the tool itself to create the database. Even we finish up with how to push the application into Azure Web App. We can ask it again to how to create the app service itself. So it's up to your imagination. You have 2000 prompts available in the free tier. If you need to have more, you need to switch or upgrade to the next plan. So imagine your application. Start today coding on Azure with the help of GitHub Copilot. This is free, available to everyone. A really powerful feature. We can troubleshoot in live with our code without any experience in coding. So again, if you do have any question, please let me know in the comment. Subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned. Next weeks, I will be talking databases, how we can secure our database, how to create the database directly on Azure with the best practices and recommendation from Microsoft to get it secure, to go passwordless in our connection string as well. So stay tuned and stay safe. Cheers. Bye-bye.